What began as a so-called national security tariff on Canadian metals has now escalated into a $20 billion trade confrontation. President Trump's action triggered Canada's fiercest response to date, a sweeping 50% tariff strike on U.S. exports. The clash is sending shockwaves through auto, beverage, and technology supply chains, intensifying friction just as EV production faces new obstacles, and political pressure rises on both sides of the border. This is more than a tariff dispute. It's a test of industrial resolve and geopolitical influence. Buckle up. Here are the flashpoints, tactics, and high-stakes consequences rattling North America's economic core. The spark was lit in March when President Trump invoked Section 132 to impose a 50% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum under the justification of national security. Officially, the intention was to stop Chinese steel being funneled through Canada, but leaked internal memos showed the real focus was origin switching rather than Canada itself. Ottawa saw the move as an economic ambush disguised as a defense measure. Canada's initial response was restrained, announcing a $3.5 billion Canadian support program for companies like Stoco and Rio Tinto. But prices surged. Canadian hot-rolled coil steel climbed $308 per ton above U.S. pricing, punishing construction budgets and pushing up automotive chassis cost. By June, businesses across Ontario and British Columbia were drowning in emergency loans. The breaking point arrived when, in a confidential cabinet meeting at the Rideau Wing, Prime Minister Mark Carney authorized full retaliation, a 50% tariff on $20 billion worth of U.S. exports. News of the decision leaked within hours, shaking Bay Street and igniting a lobbying scramble in Washington. This was no longer simply trade policy. It was a geopolitical reset, with Canada drawing a firm line in the steel-coated sand. Tariffs, however, were only the opening move in a far more calculated strategy. Canada's response was not emotional or reactionary. It was a deliberate and data-backed offensive built on carbon science, political leverage, and industrial planning. Carney flipped the narrative to a facts-first, values-driven strategy. Within 48 hours, his team launched a forensic audit of Canadian steel and aluminum using furnace chemistry analysis and carbon isotope testing to dismantle the U.S. national security argument. The storyline shifted. Canada was not the threat. It was the cleaner, more advanced producer. Meanwhile, simulations projected that Ottawa's 50% tariff on U.S. steel could raise cost by $420 per ton, adding roughly $850 to each SUV or pickup truck built by American automakers. That economic pain would be felt in Detroit rather than Toronto. Public backing soared, with nearly 7 out of 10 Ontarians supporting the move. Carney built a domestic alliance that united the NDP, Bloc Québécois, United Steelworkers, aluminum producers, and beverage companies. This was not simply retaliation. It became a campaign for climate responsibility, economic fairness, and national dignity. Canada was no longer defending itself. It was setting new rules for industrial engagement. And before we continue, if this breakdown is valuable, hit subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss major shifts in the global auto sector from Piston Pundit. Now let's see how Canada reinforced its bold stance with massive climate-centered industrial investment. Carney didn't just counterattack. He doubled down on long-term industrial strength. Enter the Green Steel Accord, a $4.8 billion initiative to overhaul Canada's metals industry with a focus on climate, leadership, and resilient supply chains. This wasn't just tariff politics. It was a strategic, industrial transformation. Electric arc furnaces in Hamilton, hydrogen-powered lines in Sault Ste. Marie, inert anode aluminum in Quebec. These projects were not symbolic gestures. They were strategic assets meant to secure Canada's role in the EV and aerospace revolutions. And here's the key. Automakers from Tesla to Ford depend on Canada's low-carbon metals to meet strict U.S. tax credit requirements under the Inflation Reduction Act. If Canadian supply tightens or becomes too expensive, Detroit's battery production and even SpaceX's Montreal-based aerospace alloys could face delays. Canada built a tariff ladder. If the U.S. backs down, Ottawa will scale back. If Washington escalates, Canada will match them. Supported by clean tech and international alliances. As Canada's tariffs took effect, U.S. industries, especially automakers, began to feel significant pressure. Ford and GM projected losses of $45 million per model cycle, with profit margins shrinking $320 per vehicle due to higher steel cost. Aluminum prices were expected to rise 5 cents, threatening craft breweries already operating with minimal margins. While Ottawa considered partial exemptions for major producers, the economic damage was already spreading. Politically, Trump maintained his protectionist narrative aimed at Rust Belt voters. But behind the scenes, alarm bells rang. The American Iron and Steel Institute warned that tariffs could drop U.S. blast furnace utilization by 4 percentage points, risking 7,800 jobs. Senator Bill Hagerty criticized the crackdown as short-sighted. Tesla and SpaceX lobbied aggressively against disruptions that endangered production timelines. Carney held firm, supported by a powerful domestic coalition. His objective wasn't revenge. It was the repositioning of Canada as a values-driven counterbalance to U.S. unilateralism. As campaign season intensified, the real costs were beginning to hit U.S. manufacturers, workers, and consumers. Beyond North America, the world was closely watching. What began as a regional confrontation rapidly turned into a global test case. Canada filed the WTO challenge against the U.S. use of Section 232. Though with the appellate body frozen, a ruling could take years if it comes at all. Japan, South Korea, and Australia monitored the conflict carefully, having endured their own past U.S. steel tariffs. Canada's aggressive 50% counterstrike could become a blueprint for resistance. Against future American protectionism, China exploited the divide, rerouting steel through Kazakhstan and Eurasian corridors, expanding its market presence while North America turned inward. The tech sector also felt the tremors. Tesla's Berlin facility may now source aluminum from Indonesia, with higher emissions that could jeopardize EU and US green tax credits. SpaceX, reliant on Montreal's aerospace-grade aluminum, faced delays potentially pushing Starship upgrades into 2026. Canada launched a global PR campaign presenting itself as the responsible actor in the trade conflict. Beneath the surface, this was never just about metal. It has become a high-stakes battle defining the future of trade shaped by climate imperatives, technological shifts, and geopolitical competition. So, where does everything stand now? What began as a tariff scuffle over steel has evolved into a tense industrial chess match. Canada's 50% counter-tariff was not just retaliation. It was a deliberate, layered strategy blending climate policy, economic security, and geopolitical messaging. Carney used the moment to propel Canada into global focus, fusing clean tech ambitions with assertive trade leadership. Trump doubled down on traditional protectionism, hoping to energize blue-collar voter support. But as higher costs ripple through automakers, brewers, and aerospace companies, campaign rhetoric may lose its impact before Election Day. North America now faces a defining choice: move forward into a climate-aligned industrial future, or fall backward into short-term, zero-sum trade conflict. Before you go, is Canada's strategy a model for smarter trade or merely diplomatic saber-rattling? Can climate-linked tariffs reshape global supply chains? Or will they simply intensify instability as pressure mounts? Whose gamble ultimately wins? Carney's climate capitalism or Trump's tariff doctrine? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Yes, we read them all at Piston Pundit. And don't forget to subscribe so you stay in gear for the next major shift in the auto industry. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next ride down the industrial highway. Check out the videos on screen. There's plenty more ahead.